Church hurt and trauma is a hot topic right now. So many Christians have left the church and even the faith itself due to the way that they have been treated and how certain issues have been dealt with by church leaders, even their own peers sometimes. In today's Camping Chair Chats, myself and Joel take apart our own experiences of church hurt, the importance of forgiveness, and the power of friendship. So Joel, welcome.
Thanks.
It's funny seeing you here, isn't it?
I know.
We just I know. There was just like 2 camping chairs, 2 mics.
All reappeared.
Yeah. Magic. I just really want to have a chat with you today because I think something that's come up, I guess in a lot of like TV shows and podcasts, is a lot about ministry, and I find that the ministry aspect of it is like quite harsh against Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And both you and I have had experiences with like church hurt and trauma, I guess.
Yeah.
But we've both come out the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just felt like we need to chat about that, because a lot of it is just, people are just so hurt when they talk and they do on these TV shows.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bitterness because they haven't had that healing process. So I just thought it'd be good just to tell people, you know, we can overcome it, and there is beauty on the other side of it. But really, I just wanted to get to know a bit more about your background and your church background and a bit more of that.
There we are. So start from the beginning.
Yeah, best place to start.
So obviously I was raised in a Christian household. And then probably when I got to my teens, like most folks, I didn't want to know. And I had quite a few life events that had gone on, which really sort of affected me in my teens, made me quite hardened to things. And I had quite a lot of anger issues, and we ended up moving to Wales from Somerset, and my parents settled in a church. I would go now and again, but just like, yeah, same for me. But I got friendly with a guy, and he was like, "Oh, you got to come to this church, and just they've got a dedication on and stuff." So I was like, "Well, I don't really want to," but he was so persistent. My only option was to say yes, and I ended up going, and God really impacted my life. It was like I had a surprise confrontation with the gospel of Jesus Christ, and it was like a 2x4 around my head. And I knew that I can't mess around with this. It was like there was a call in that I'd not heard to me, and it was like God saying, "Right, son, are you going to come with me, or are you going to keep going in this lifestyle?" And I accepted Jesus that night, and all I can say, my life was massively changed. Massively changed from that point. I remember describing it as I felt like a butterfly, because the load of life had just been taken away. Because I now had someone with me, and that someone was Jesus, and who loved me, and wanted me, and has always wanted and had good things for me. And so it really started challenging a narrative in my life, especially from like the injury with my eye and some of the abuse that I had gone through as a teen. You know, it was a completely different narrative. So I thought everything was absolutely cushy and amazing. I thought the church that I was in was absolutely amazing. You know, I thought I was really accepted by these folks, and I suppose really in hindsight, I was almost like the spectacle, because I was the newbie and I had a bit of a background, and you know, my behaviour was a bit challenging, and I was very straight talking, and so they were like, "Oh, look at him," and you know, and I thought, this is it, this is my identity now, and how wrong I could be, because what was great turned out to be an absolute stranglehold.
Yeah.
And we, you're talking about ministry.
Yeah.
And ministry has become such a forefront in Christendom, and it's at the expense of the individual. Christ is after the individual. That was the whole point of the parable about the lost sheep. And the ministry is the cogwheel now, and it's like, no, we can't leave the cogwheel for the one. The one has to come to the cogwheel, and there's no room in that, and it's become legalistic and religious, and and I'm not saying this to browbeat or get on at anyone. No. This is experience of a lot of people, and a lot of people understand that unless you're in the clique, being outside can be quite lonely, and you can be quite ostracized, and or put out the clip very quickly, as what was my case, because I wouldn't toe the line of the ministry wheel, or the vision of the ministry. Churches have visions, but that can't be at the expense of your own vision. You need to be able to see. And I think in the tumultuousness of everything that was going on, in those times you don't have a vision. In fact, your vision becomes toeing the line and doing what the ministry wants of you, and so you succumb to control and you succumb to manipulation. Now, folks, let's be clear here. There are some people who know exactly what they're doing, but I would say a lot of people don't know what they're doing because of the ministry cogwheel. And so it's about you complying to what they want you to do and how they see you fit. And I don't know about you, Chloe, but I was someone, and I still am someone, who doesn't fit. In the sense of this idyllic, you're this is what you now do, and this is only what you now do. And I never fit into that. And I think there's a lot of people that don't fit into that, and were never meant to fit into that, but are stuck in this place of control, and it's at your expense all the time.
So how, talking about control, how easy was it for them to control you, or did you find that there were certain ways that they acted in order to dampen you down? Can you explain a couple of the ways that they did that?
So I mean, for me, it was like Japanese water torture. And I say that because it was like a constant drip. It was a constant. You can't do that, or we're pulling you up for this, or you can't be doing this. You can't say that. You can't do worship anymore. You can't do this. So it was reaffirming what I can't do, and that was how they had control over me. Because it took away any form of identity. It stripped me back to nothing. But it never gave me anything. Because it was always, no, you need to do what we're telling you. And unless you do that, we're not going to accept you.
It's almost like they capitalise on, well, this is my experience anyway, the insecurity that you have that you're not good enough anyway. And they kind of dangle this carrot, you can lead worship. But the way that we want to. And then when you do it your way, or the way you feel like God's, then you get brought, we need a meeting, we need you to calm it down, or do something like that. So, I think.
And it was constant, and it was personal life as well. It wasn't just in the church ministry wheel. To be honest, a lot of that was taken off me. But I was evangelising like a trooper. I was, working with the ambulances, working in A&E, working in the hospitals, and I was witnessing all the time. I just love Jesus. But I tell you something, all this over time robbed me of my love of Jesus. But I couldn't deny what he'd done in my life. And that's what held me thick and thin. It was like I couldn't run from that. I knew I can't run from him. And we were 6-7 years in this church particularly, and it just got to the point where this is not tenable anymore. I was a bond servant. I was a slave of the church, and I was a slave of all the labels that were put on me. whether they were meant or not is irrelevant. The place that I'm at now, I know that this has shaped my life.
Yeah.
And God has used this for my good. And folks, if you're going through stuff where it feels that the stuffing is being kicked out of you and you just like, you've got no options. That's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, God's in it. Even if you can't feel him being with you, his word says he's faithful and he's with you at all times. Though I walk through the valley of death, he is with me. And I want to encourage you, he's with you and he has plans for you and he will prosper them and he will bring them to pass. But folks, we need to understand, if we look at this in like a domestic violence term, where a husband or a wife is violent to their partner, you wouldn't hesitate in saying you need to come out of that. Yeah. Or even if it's not violent, even if it's just this, the verbal abuse and controlling behaviour and abuse of power and over money and all these varieties of abuse. You wouldn't hesitate in saying, look, this needs to be dealt with. You need to come out of that because it's not functionable. And folks, you need to question that in the church environment. I'm not encouraging you to leave church. If church functioned the way it should, this wouldn't even be on the table. This wouldn't even need to be a conversation. But unfortunately, it has to be a conversation. And if this is what's in your place, you need to get out. And you need to find somewhere where you are valued for who you are, as Christ values you. And the church responds like Christ intends his bride to be. And you need to be in a place where you are loved. I'm not talking like this fake love that we see and then suddenly you've got all this controlling behaviour behind it. That's not real.
No. That's
not real. But you need to be somewhere where you can thrive and function as God intended you to be, where you can be you. And that was the thing. In the 2 churches I've been before where we are now, I couldn't be me. It was almost like people were afraid. I don't know about you, Chloe, but they were afraid of me. It was almost like that. I'm not saying they were, right? But it was almost like, we can't control this guy. And this is a big problem. And listen, folks, I wasn't uncontrollable. Chloe, you weren't uncontrollable. No. You just done things differently, and it was a matter of there was no.
It's almost like there was no shepherding.
No.
There was no there wasn't correction. It was I'm just going to keep you in a pen.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I experienced. Because like you said, they were afraid of me and what I was capable of doing. So therefore, it's like, in a weird way, it is that sort of abusive relationship. Maybe not like a violent one, but there is an element of coercive control where it's, I'll take you from your friends, I'll take you from your family. That's what I experienced. I was very isolated, and then therefore I could only trust them, in the organisation that I was at. So you feel like you can't leave, and it's drip fed to the point where if they were doing what they were doing at the beginning, then you wouldn't be part of it. But because you've kind of been made into this person that's not you and not your authentic you, that you find it hard to sort of leave.
Absolutely. It was always operating within the confines of their boundary for you. So when you said about being in a pen, it was exactly that. In fact, it was like being tethered, like you tether a donkey, and they've got a meter leash, and that's it. And no wonder it's produced this circular movement in the church where people are just going round and round, and they're like, just don't have a clue.
No.
They don't know who Jesus is. They don't know what their purpose in life is. They don't know who they are in Christ. It's become spoon-fed, drip-fed, and you'll do as we say, and this is your reach. And that's how it would be, because, there's this insecurity in leaders where you can only go as far as I'm willing for you to go. Yeah. Rather than to thrive, we need leaders that are like, listen, I want you to go far beyond anything I can do. You're special to Jesus, and I want to shepherd you. Yes, we need shepherding, love corrects.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talking about not correcting,
Yeah.
but we're talking about this seemingly control of, we'll keep you where you are because that's safe.
Yeah.
And it almost making it out as it's safe for you. And it's like, yeah, but this doesn't feel right. It's like Saul's armor almost, you know?
Yeah. Another thing you said earlier on, it was in regards to almost like our own personal vision and what God's calling us to do is now dampened in order to serve the purpose of not the church as the whole, but that particular church organisation.
Yeah.
And so it becomes almost cult-like in the sense of this church's vision is now above what God's vision for the church is. And it's like, no matter what you do, it must serve our vision.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, churches do have a particular, God wants you to do this. It's the body, and arm has a different purpose, and eye has a different purpose. But it's like, it becomes this all-consuming thing.
Yeah.
Like, we did the programme, Is Jesus Really Enough? And it's like a question that I'm constantly asking in all, we were talking about the New Age coming into the church with that one, but it's for everything. And it's like, have we dumbed down what Jesus has really called us to be in order for us to serve a particular leader or a church's vision? And it's quite a blurred vision and a kind of closed vision as well, you know?
Absolutely. And because of the emphasis on this and the denominational doctrine and so on, and listen, I'm not having a dig, all right? But we need to have a conversation about this sort of stuff because it's at the precedent of the Word of God almost.
Yeah.
And it's become divisive. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand.
No.
Yet that is the very ethos of the church.
Yeah.
Because unless you conform to a pattern that is set by that church, you're excluded.
Yeah.
But we're meant to be diverse. Yes, Christ-like, absolutely. And so if we're Christ-like, the fruit of the Spirit is evident.
Yeah.
By our fruits we are known, and we will in turn reveal Christ to others. We because He is in us. Put on Christ, and the flesh will have no room for itself. So it's gonna reveal Christ, isn't it? But it's like, it's not about that. It's about towing the line, and it's become divisive because you can't be who God wants you to be.
Yeah.
Let people have a go.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
And did you find, like, even though they wanted to keep you following their thing, they would almost like wheel you out as like the special person?
Oh, yeah.
Like when you were leading worship, as like, this is Joel, he's amazing, obviously, which you are, but like it was like you were almost like a showpiece, like an attraction, rather than, okay, we love this guy because he's got such a great heart, and his sound is something that kind of cuts through.
I mean, I suppose I've experienced that in some.
Okay.
I think my experience was very different.
Okay.
I was completely ostracised and shunned.
All right.
And never good enough. That's where the labels come. Now, God's used it because God's used it to knock chips off my life.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for it now.
Yeah.
Hear me, folks. I'm grateful for it now.
Yeah.
All right. Because I see God's hand in it, and I wouldn't be the man I am today if I hadn't have gone through this.
Yeah.
Because it's proven character in me.
Yeah.
All right. And it's produced hope, and this hope will not disappoint.
Yeah.
So, count it great joy, folks, when you're going through trials and tribulations. That's what James says.
Yeah.
Because it's producing character, as
Yeah.
Paul says in Romans. But there were times where it was like, oh yeah, especially in the early days.
Yeah.
It was like I was the showpiece, which was weird, to be quite honest. But then when that was becoming more than the leaders running it or whatever, that soon got less.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. We've got a church full of emperors. And guys, again, I'm not being critical. It's just how it is. We need to get back to basics, all right? And the basics is pursue Jesus. Pursue Jesus. All right, and do what he's asking you. Be obedient and do what he's asking you to do.
Yeah.
Yes, have those conversations, but those conversations come through friendship, not a leadership team.
No.
You know, when we're talking about these leadership teams, and especially the way it is now, where everyone's given their own role.
Yeah.
This is how you do. This is what you need to adhere to. This is your job description.
Yeah.
So what's everyone in the leadership doing? They're going to their job description,
Yeah.
and they're going to what their function is.
Yeah.
Listen, folks, it's not in what you do. It's in who you are.
Yeah.
And who you are is all about who Jesus is in you.
Yeah.
And so going back to it, we've got all these emperors, and they're trying to build a kingdom for themselves.
Yeah.
Jesus wants you to build his kingdom. It's his kingdom's business we need to be on,
Yeah.
and pursuing and doing,
Yeah.
not other people's. And listen, there's a thin line between the two. And seriously, guys, when you've got time, sit down, take yourself out of it and really ask yourself these questions. Who am I serving? Who am I really serving? Because it's a scary question to ask,
Yeah.
but I tell you what, it's a good one, because Jesus is calling us at this hour
Yeah.
to be unadulteratedly his.
And I think it goes back as well when you're talking about being spoon-fed. I think people don't know
No.
how to go and listen to the Lord.
No.
They expect their leader to be the only one who has a connection to God, or they'll go to maybe conferences or have speakers come to their
Absolutely.
church and be beg. And I know I was like one of them as well. There's a prophet come in like, oh God, give me a word.
Yeah.
Like I need to know who I am, or I need
Yeah.
to know what I need to be doing. And it's like we've almost we are consumers rather than, like our pastor John was saying, be a Berean, like in Acts 17, like those ones at Berea where they examined the word and looked into it.
Absolutely.
And believed through that. So I think that's another issue, is that the pastor's word is law. I was like, okay, and people need to be taught. I think that's what thing that churches need to start doing is, teaching people how to look, how to seek. I still haven't read all the Bible, and I've been a Christian for like 30 years because it's been drilled into me. No, you just get what's palatable. And so it's only really since I've been coming to church on the move, since I've been like, actually, I want to find out about Jesus for myself, because the way I've been brought up, or the way, it's just like, no, we'll just show you this bit. And so they give you a nice bit of the Bible that you can just keep on going at, keep on sort of looking at, whereas, things like the tabernacle are not taught. And so how are you meant to, look at the rest of the Bible and without looking at weapons of warfare or the pattern of the tabernacle? So I think that's another issue as well.
Absolutely. And like with the Bereans, they came with their differences.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear me, folks? They came with their differences. They weren't shy of their differences.
No.
In fact, they celebrated their differences because it meant it was a good conversation coming their way.
Yeah.
But we're afraid of differences. Because we've become divisive.
Yeah.
We've separated, and it's like, no, there's no room for that.
Yeah.
And so, look, there are some things that are clean cut in Scripture.
Yeah.
All right, we're not saying any different to that. All right, but Jesus taught them the correct way.
Yeah.
Paul said, "I bring a better way." Yeah. So it was recognizing the difference, but not using that as an excuse to separate. You see, and this is the thing we've got. Everyone focuses on the differences or the negative.
Yeah.
We don't talk about people because, oh, do you know what? Look, in that good, like, oh, they gave a brilliant word. No, okay, we do that sometimes, but I bet it's in the small percentage. Because generally we associate people with their negative traits.
Yeah.
And because we're about building our own kingdom and being our own little mini emperors.
Yeah.
We see that as a negative, and then we're like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want that. And so we immediately ostracized. But the Bereans, and it was this emphasis on, I feel like, this friendship. Yeah, and so friendship, irrespective of the negatives, celebrated the positives.
Yeah.
all right, and the negatives. And because there was friendship, there was love involved, there was, we were going to give room, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because there's something that is lost in that, in today. I'm not saying nobody does this, of course people do that, but it seems to be not done that much, put it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you've been to these like 2 churches now that have been a bit rubbish. And
they've had their challenges.
They've had their challenges, you know. It's not about exposing people.
No.
It's about just bringing about to light things that do happen in these churches, so we're just more aware of it, so you can act on it. But after you've been to these churches, you ended up at Church on the Move.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, like, what was the difference between going to Church on the Move and the other 2?
Well, I got to say, it was an absolute culture shock.
Yeah.
It was an absolute culture shock,
Yeah.
but I loved it.
Yeah.
I was drawn to it. I knew when Faith invited me to play in the choir, the piano, and it came just at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, God does everything at the right time, perfect time. And so me and my wife Danny, we were just at a real low point. And I couldn't run from the Lord, but I was just like, I'm done with church, God. I'm done with church. Yeah. I'm done with the politics. I'm done with the infighting. I'm done with this one's better than this one, and we'll take that, and you know, the rest of it we'll just get rid of, or you know, the manipulation, and you know, and even while I'm saying these things, I just want to bring this in, right? There were really good times as well in my first 2 churches. There was really good times.
Absolutely.
And I want to say this as well, because I bless you, because even in the pain, God never used it for my destruction. He used it for me to prove character.
Yeah.
And grow in character and maturity.
Yeah.
And so I thank you for it, and I bless you for it, because like I said earlier, I wouldn't be the man I am now.
Yeah.
If I hadn't gone through these things. So, you know, I truly bless you for it, and I thank you. You know, yes, it was hurtful. Yes, it was painful, but God's used it for my good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with that said, coming to Church on the Move, it was a culture shock, because everything was different. And so the church politics that I had experienced were suddenly null and void.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do in this. I didn't know how to fit in. And I think that the biggest culture shock for me was suddenly from the pulpit, take this word and go and test it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't take what I'm saying as right. This is from the pastor now. And suddenly I was confronted with a truth that I knew, but now I had to, it wasn't good enough knowing. It was like, right, okay, now I've got the freedom to act on this.
Yeah.
And that was a massive learning curve.
Yeah.
Because suddenly it wasn't about what my pastor's saying and I need to toe the line. It was like, right, this is what my pastor said. Now I'm taking it to the wood.
Yeah.
Now I'm taking it. I'm going to take the meat and I'm going to leave the bone. And my pastor's absolutely fine with that. And if I want to have a conversation with him, because I'm like, look, John, I'm not quite sure what you meant by this.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate it might be awkward for John.
Yeah.
And he might not love those conversations in some respects, but because he would be like, oh gosh, what's going on now? You know, but it was like the Berean mentality coming through. And suddenly I had someone who would sit down and say, well, no, look at it differently. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. You know, you can't deny it's not in the word. It's just different.
Yeah.
And so that was massive. And then suddenly the ability to say no was, I'm like, this is flipping weird. I can say no. And even to this day, I still struggle sometimes
Same.
to say no. Yeah, they're like, what's wrong with you, you pleb? Just flip and say no if you can't do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no false responsibility put on me and people in the church. And so suddenly there's this thing of, we know you by your fruit. So if it's good enough to say and it's good enough for you to actually act upon, faith without works is dead, faith with works is life-giving.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it and speaking it, great. That's what's noticed. And so suddenly it's that's celebrated. So we're celebrating behaviour, not not an appearance,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
And my goodness, that was so refreshing.
Yeah.
And I've been in the church, 7, coming up 8 years possibly now. And boy, oh boy, my life has changed. My life has changed, and I've grown, and the family's grown. My wife's come out of shell, and the hurts that have gone on are being healed because there's freedom, and we're in a place where we can be healed. We're in a place which operates on friendship. Doesn't operate from a ministry viewpoint.
Yeah.
You can do, how can we support you? How can we facilitate it? Crack on.
Yeah.
And it's about you being the driving force and what God's told you. What is God saying to you?
Yeah.
That's what's important. Not we're saying to you, we're not going to manipulate you.
No.
Is everything perfect? No. But listen, no church is.
No.
And if you're looking for a perfect church, you're going to be there a long time because there just isn't one.
No.
All right? People are people, and we're all flipping bonkers at times, and we all have our moments. But I'm in a place that's willing to accept those moments and correct me on those moments, but also lead me forward out of those moments.
Yeah. Not check you out.
No.
Oh, you've made a big mistake.
No.
We'll take
Absolutely.
this from you. We'll take that
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
you.
No,
Yeah.
stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by. And we've been in some pickles. And do you know, being in this environment, right? This is the biggest thing. In the prior churches, because you just knew what would happen, it closes the ability to be able to be transparent.
Yeah.
And they require transparency of you, but make it impossible for you to be transparent. Because as soon as you are transparent, you're ostracized for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what is meant to happen.
No.
And so being in a place where you can be transparent, be able to talk about the nitty gritty, and it's like, yeah, okay, don't worry, let's hand it to Jesus now. He's got it, and we'll stand by you.
Yeah.
Because it's about that.
Yeah.
We're not miracle workers. We're not able to sort your life out, but Jesus is.
Yeah.
So let's point you to Jesus. Let's work through this together.
Yeah.
But no false responsibility on it. No false responsibility on them to try and fix the situation, which is awesome. And a lot of leaders carry that false responsibility. Oh, we need to fix this. We need to fix this by doing A, B, and C. And listen, folks, you're going to make it a lot worse. All right, you are. You're just going to make it a lot worse.
Yeah.
Hand it to Jesus.
Yeah.
Teach people to give it to Jesus.
Yeah.
Stop meddling. Stop being the finger in the water, ruffling the water. We need the water to be still. That's why it says in the Psalms, he leads us beside still waters. The tabernacle, the laver, it was still water. Why? So you could see the reflection of yourself in the sense of, so you were exposed and be able to put things right that are in your lives, but also so you can see the grand picture, because it will reflect the heavens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's with you always.
Yeah.
He's not surprised. And there's always a plan. There's always a plan.
It's always through forgiveness as well, isn't it? Because it's the lever, because if it's the water's muddy or you are dirty yourself, you can potentially look at yourself and think, oh, I'm just looking at the dirt on me rather than also the bigger picture as well.
Absolutely.
So I think forgiveness is such a big thing.
Absolutely. And forgiveness is a process.
Oh,
So often we think it's this, oh, there we are, I've said my prayer, forgiven. And listen, when you go through trauma, deep trauma, forgiveness isn't a flipping 5-minute thing.
No.
It is deep rooted, and it takes everything.
It's taken me, 7 years and probably even more, to feel
Absolutely
okay with what happened to me, and and that's okay.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that's what being part of the church is be willing to walk through that.
Absolutely. It's the willingness.
Yeah.
It's the willingness. Lord, I'm willing to forgive. I just don't know how to.
Yeah.
And that's where we need each other. That's where we need the friendship. That's where we need the Bereans mentality. Okay, let's get in the wood. Let's bring Jesus into the center of this.
Yeah.
Rather than this spoon-fed technique. And even Christian counselling, not dissing it, but again, It's about forgive, 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 forgive. And yeah, that's really important. But it's almost like that's took precedent over the process.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, our lives are in a process. Our lives are in a journey from glory to glory. He is changing us. Yeah, it's a daily thing.
Yeah.
It's a daily journey, and there's curveballs on that journey.
Absolutely.
And we need Jesus, and we need the ability and resilience to be able to get up.
Yeah, well, like for me, it took, we did the reboot trauma course.
Absolutely.
And I finally got to a place where I could forgive the organisation I was part of. I was there for 5 years. 7 years later, I finally managed to do it. And then, God's funny. Like a few months later, something else has been brought up about another church that I was part of that I didn't even think there was unforgiveness there. But I was like, oh, I did the big chunk of forgiveness at that time, but then God just brings up another thing and you're like, okay, I can do that. And then you move on, and then God, for me anyway, reveals a bit more of the next journey, because that unforgiveness is such a roadblock.
Yeah.
Because what do they say? It's like carrying a dead body on your back, and it's just festers and festers and becomes part of you. And for those people like watching who may have been hurt by church and stuff, like, these people are people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And they mess up, we mess up.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's easy to accuse, but it's like that saying, isn't it? You point one finger and there's 3 pointed back at you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to be like, I need to not accuse. Let's take a step back and forgive these people, because they're flawed, but Jesus loves them just as much as he loves you. And you might be like, oh yeah, but they did this, they did that. Jesus forgave those who were like literally chucked him on the cross, So it is a process, but like, don't be discouraged. Sometimes you just have to make that first step, being like, okay, I'm willing to forgive. Yeah. How do I go about that? Let's start that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a journey, and it's like Pastor John says, if you're gonna strive, and Faith, the constantly reminding, look, if you're gonna strive for anything, and listen, folks, when you're in these situations, you start striving. You start striving, and forgiveness becomes a striving. And I think when we start striving in our own strength, especially, everything becomes very noisy, and there's a lot of noise, and we focus on the noise. But if you're going to strive for anything, strive to enter his rest, Jesus' rest for you, and be still, and know that he is God for yourself. And I think that is such a fundamental key.
Yeah, absolutely.
To these things, and coming out the other end, because forgiveness will bring you to a place where you're able to let go. Yeah. And I think a key thing for me was not only me letting go, but quite often when you come out of a place who has a very set outlook on, this is you. Yeah. This is how we define you at. And it can be quite off the wall at times and very hurtful, and you can't do anything to change what they think. So you have to let it go to be able to hand it over to the Lord. But there will come a time. Even if it's years later, that suddenly you'll see that one person and they're different to you. And you're like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? This is abnormal. Yeah. And suddenly God just reveals to you, okay, Joel, okay, whatever your name is, they've let you go now. Yeah. Now it's time to thrive.
Yeah. Because we both had that thing, like, separately, literally around the same time. We had a chat about it, didn't it? Like, and this is why we're able to, like, chat about these things, because we've been released. Yeah. And, when you hold on to that, you can't grasp onto what God's got next for you. So it's like, okay, things happened. But, like, finally, it was like they let go. Because I was on their website for 7 years after I'd left, on the front page. And then finally, I was no longer on their website. And I was like, oh, finally, they've let me go. I thought I'd let go, but now I feel like truly set free from all of this stuff. Like, I no longer have a hold on it. And,
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is awesome. Because it's like, okay, new pastures now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. God's wanting to take you into a new season for your
Yeah.
life. And we live in a tumultuous world at the minute, but don't lose your focus on Jesus.
No.
Don't focus on the storm. Focus on Jesus, because he's got a plan and he's going to get you to the other side. But sometimes it requires us to stop.
Yeah.
Stop being numpties half the time.
Yeah.
And I think when we're going through stuff, we talk an awful lot. And, I think we've got to be careful, because sometimes in the multitude of our words, we condemn ourselves, let alone anyone else. And so just be wise, be still, strive to enter his rest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the one thing that keeps on coming up, about the still waters. Like God has asked me, how do you worship from still waters?
Yeah.
I was like, I have no clue. Is it being peaceful? It's like, yes, but it's through that lens of forgiveness. It's through that lens of nothing else. Like, I'm included in this, and he is. It's like that, both of us together. Because like, if we were just so busy looking up at the sky, we're not including ourselves in it at all. So it's like, we just need to allow us to just be ourselves.
Absolutely.
In that.
And learn to trust again.
Yeah.
I think that was a massive thing for me. I was friends with Faith from the start of coming to the church, really. Just, felt a connection, and, she's very much like a sister and stuff like that, and but I said to her, me being me, like, I said, look, Faith, I'm willing, but I said, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you right now. Because I says, I got to learn how to trust again.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the response, because, and this is friendship.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, well, there you are, sod you then, type thing.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, no problem. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. And willing to work through that. And we need those people in our lives. And there's something about that Berean mentality again. Scripture says, in the counsel of many, the victories are assured.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the counsel of many. Well, you need to be wise who you take counsel in.
Yeah.
All right. So it has to be friends.
Yeah.
And this is why this leadership model is just like, oh gosh, there's a bit of a stench to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work.
No.
And so we need, leadership, absolutely. I'm not talking we don't need leadership. We do. God set a pattern for leadership, absolutely, not a problem. But it needs to be through friendship and love. Unless I have love, I'm a clanging cymbal, and we got a lot of clanging cymbals.
Yeah.
I was a clanging cymbal.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was so black and white. And probably ostracised others. Please forgive me if you were on the brunt receiving end of that. But it's like having that counsel in friendship. There has been times in my life, like I said, where the ability to be transparent with my friends completely and utterly changed the outcome. Because the victory is assured in the counsel of many.
Yeah.
But listen, it's through the friendships.
Yeah.
It's through friendship. And so I encourage you, don't be a lone island.
No.
Don't be lonely. Go to a place where you can find your tribe and you've got people around you who love you for you.
Yeah.
And you can love others for them. And do journey life together and do life together and be real and honest and authentic. Be authentic, folks. Shake off the appearance that religion and patterns of church is wanting you to have. They stink and people see through them. They do.
Oh, yeah. It's not that hard to see through somebody who's fake. It doesn't take very long anyway. No. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, I was just like, I think I even told God once, I'm only meant to be a lone wolf. Like, well, because I was like, I'm done with church. I burnt out completely. I've had enough. I think I'm just going to do this with you, and just, it's obvious I'm not meant to have friends. Wow. So, but then you just spiral into like this world of depression.
It's the opposite of what God wants for you, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And because we don't want to be wolf in sheep's clothing at all. No. We need to be there, but it's, yeah, I think for me as well, I'm still working on that trust issue. Yeah. And but that's okay.
But it's a journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're with people that will stand with you anyway. And have the grace to say, oh, right, okay, we'll just okay, I want to say something about that, but no, I don't need to.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
And just journey and go through friendship,
Yeah.
and because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And that's what fosters an environment to grow.
Yeah.
And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to grow,
Yeah.
to be our roots to grow deep,
Yeah.
and our fruit to grow tall.
Yeah.
That's what He wants.
Yeah. I mean, like Jesus, he had friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Shock and horror.
He didn't do it on his...
No, well, His disciples were His friends.
Yeah.
But we've religiosified the whole discipleship thing.
Yeah, like you're now under me, and I found anyway, like, leaders were looking for yes men, but then we go, he's looking for people who are, as they said, as iron sharpens iron. We all got to be sharp and maybe give each other a little bit of a, I don't think that's probably right, but
But there's two sides, isn't it, to the yes men.
Yeah.
There are those that are your friends. And if they think, I'm a little bit cautious over this, they'll say, look, I'm cautious over this, but let's try it.
Yeah.
That's the yeses you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got the other side where it's like you've been put into a position because basically you're being manipulated.
Yeah.
Because you'll have the side chats where you're conditioned into a certain scenario and an answer, and then you're given your yes to allow for the building of a kingdom that's not God's.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that sort of yes man.
No, I don't.
But you want to be a yes man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be yes to God. And be like. So, with you're a worship leader. Have you found that like your worship or the way you lead worship or just worship in general has changed over the course of maybe being in a church that's not as accepting of you to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you're not looking over your back all the time. I think when you're in that environment where you're constantly questioned, it fosters an atmosphere where you question.
Yeah.
So you question everything.
Yeah.
But also you question everything. Was that good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were the people engaging? So it's all about your appearance.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and the response of the appearance of others.
Yeah.
And I'm not a people pleaser. I am not designed to be a people pleaser. I'd love to please people. I do.
Yeah.
We all want to be loved. We all want to be liked.
Yeah.
Deep down.
Yeah.
But when that comes to forefront, and I think it had for me.
Yeah.
In some respects, because you were always, because of the labels, you carry them.
Yeah.
And so you're always looking for acceptance. And I think that was one of the other culture shocks.
Yeah.
I was accepted for who I was, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with that.
No.
Because I'd be like, oh gosh, was that good? And it's like, so it unraveled then, this narrative. And I remember one day, John and Faith said, no, Joel, you're a son of the house. And we talk about sonship. We're sons of God. And we talk about how sometimes our behaviour is more like an orphan.
Yeah.
Or an illegitimate child.
Yeah.
And I definitely behaved out of those two camps.
Yeah.
And had all the insecurities that went with operating out of those two camps. To suddenly hear, no, you're a son of the house, that really, that was a 2x4 moment.
Yeah.
Because suddenly it was like I have to shake off the mentality. I have to do something. I have to act differently. It's a new day now. I have to act differently. And so learning what it was to function as a son was a demanding challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. So, I'm not saying I've got it by any stretch, but I'm at peace with being a son of the house.
Yeah.
And that then suddenly it was like, I can thrive.
Yeah.
I am meant to thrive.
And then that's the only label you need then. If you want any label, it's being a son
Absolutely.
or a daughter.
Absolutely.
Because you also, when you're a son or a daughter, you kind of don't have a role. You were just loved unconditionally.
You just
You just accept that,
Yeah.
you know, rather than being, oh, well, I need to be a worship leader, or I need to be this and the other. It's just like,
Absolutely. You just are. You just are.
you just are, yeah.
And you know, you're confident in the fact that, you know, if there's an issue, it will be brought to my attention
Yeah.
by my friends. And you know, we've always got things to learn.
Yeah.
We have to remain humble. We
Yeah.
have to operate in humility. Absolutely, we do. We can't allow pride to get the better of us
No.
and think, oh yeah, I've got this now. This is mine. You know, I'm this and I'm that, and reinvent labels.
Yeah.
We can't do that. No, what's paramount is I am his and he is mine.
Yeah.
And so all that I have is his anyway,
Yeah.
and from him, because he's the giver of all good things.
Yeah.
The earth in its fullness is his,
Yeah.
you know, and because he is mine and I'm a son,
Yeah.
I'm an inheritor of that, but it's all because of him.
Good.
And I think when we operate in that, it's like an Abraham moment,
Yeah.
you know, where Abraham was brought on the plains and God asked Abraham, what do you see, Abraham? He says, well, I see the expanse of this territory, the fields, and, you know, I can imagine it. And it's like, when you're a son, you look at things like that, and he's
Yeah.
like, well, all that you see is yours.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's no hindrances. You know, do I step back in the old narratives now and again? Yeah, absolutely I do.
But it's about bringing yourself back from that rather than allowing that to
Absolutely.
define you, isn't it?
Absolutely. But yeah, just, you know, yeah, it's changed everything.
Yeah.
And I find myself, you know, in a season where change is happening again.
Yeah.
And change is uncomfortable, and it brings you to a place where you're like, oh, do you know what, Lord, I've just got nothing to bring to the table here. I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue what you're doing. I haven't got a clue. I know everything's changed, you know, but what this new looks like, I haven't got a clue. And it's just show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just show up. And I think as a son, you're at liberty just to show up.
Oh, yeah. You just expect it to show up.
Yeah.
And as long as you do that, you've kind of done your job, innit, really?
You know, so it's liberating.
Yeah,
it's
so good.
liberating.
So, like, before we end, as someone who's been through all of this stuff, and, you know, you're a pastor, like, what can you say to somebody who is in that moment of being really hurt by a church, or who's still in that church, or has left the church and doesn't want anything to do with that church life? Like, well, like, how would you sort of deal with that?
Well, I think the thing is, don't lose sight of Jesus.
Yeah.
Number one. Don't lose sight, because when you're in that, it's very easy to, because I think you associate the behaviour of the church with the behaviour of Jesus.
Yeah.
And Jesus does not behave like the church.
No.
The church should behave like Jesus.
Yeah.
And the disparity between the two is quite broad sometimes.
Yeah, it can be.
But I think, look, hold it loose. And I appreciate you hurting. And that hurt runs deep. And I suppose it dictates how you see everything.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you that there's more than that. And you're more than that. And you're more than the labels. And there is more to your life than where you are right now.
Yeah.
And I think, try and find a place in your heart where you're willing to say, okay, I'm going to give this another go. And I'm willing to forgive.
Yeah.
How that looks right now, I don't know. But find a place. There will be somewhere. There will be a church.
Yeah.
That you will click with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you will find a tribe. You know, that's the great thing. That's what's good about the church being diverse. Hence why we need to celebrate it. Because we draw like-minded people.
Yeah.
And so if you're not like-minded in the place that you are now, find a place where you are. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because your servitude is not to that church, it's to the kingdom of God ultimately.
Yeah.
And the kingdom's broad and wide. And so just find that place, find that tribe. Learn to walk in friendship with people again, even though bridges have been severely burnt.
Yeah.
Nothing is beyond fixing or being built again.
Yeah.
You know, if it's been so burnt that there's nothing there, well, maybe it's time to build again. And with Jesus you can.
Yeah.
And with others you can. And so, and learn to be thankful.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive thing. A massive thing. You know, it almost sounds ludicrous and stupid. So what I'm saying, you might be thinking now, right, is, so you're saying I need to be thankful for all the hurt. Well, not necessarily the hurt that you've gone through, but I think be thankful for what God has done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be thankful for what God is doing now, that you're breathing,
Yeah.
that you're in existence. You know, that it hasn't got the better of you so much
Yeah.
that you felt there's no point. And even if you are feeling like life's no point, let me tell you, with Jesus there is a point.
Yeah.
You know, and I think just ask Jesus to reveal himself again to you.
Yeah.
And be thankful. Turn it on its head.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're drawing from a bitter place, that's all. Everything is bitter.
Yeah.
Everything is bitter. And I think when we start with that very small ounce of gratitude,
Yeah.
it changes everything. It
Yeah.
stirs up the bitter waters.
Yeah.
And it brings a different perspective. It allows for a different perspective.
Yeah.
And the joy of the Lord is our strength.
Yeah.
That's the strength, that his joy over you. Yeah, his joy over you is your strength. And he's joyful over you. And he loves you. And he's got plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Even though stuff's harmed you right now, your life's existence is not based on that.
No.
There's far beyond all that. And just go with the process, go with the journey, be willing to get back on the journey.
Yeah.
Be willing to get back up, even though everything's sore.
Yeah.
Say, do you know what? I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep moving forward. Paul said, innit, you know, forgetting what has gone before,
Yeah.
I press on towards the goal. And Jesus is the goal,
Absolutely.
folks. Jesus is the goal.
Yeah. I think that's the best takeaway from it, is Jesus is the goal, not the church.
No.
Not anything else.
No.
Once you pursue him, everything else tends to fall into place, doesn't it? But yeah, thanks so much
No,
for joining me
pleasure.
today. It's so
Thank
good
you.
to hear your opinion about it.
Well,
Yeah, it's good.
you know, weigh it up, innit?
Yeah.
You know, opinion's opinion. You know,
Yeah.
unless it's based on the word of God, my
No.
opinion's hellish.
But our experiences are powerful as well, and our
Yeah.
testimony is as well. And if, you know, nobody sees that anybody's been hurt in the church, then they might think they're the only ones.
Absolutely.
But then they can see there is a way out.
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
you will, and like you said, we will find
Yeah,
a church, a group of people
absolutely.
who are for you
Yeah,
and are your tribe.
yeah, absolutely. No, thank you.
No, thanks.